Hello everyone, it's David again, and I am here with Season 2, Episode 6, titled A Spider in the Web. I do need to apologize for not posting for quite a while. I've been having some dental issues, and you also might hear my brand new kitten. He's running around terrorizing the whole house. But my dental issues have gotten to be pretty severe. We're looking at least $15,000 to $20,000 to fix my dental problems. However, my insurance only covers $1,500 per year. Now, if you go and do a deep cleaning, or they call it descaling, that one took $1,350, and now they don't give you free fillings anymore, so it's around, I think, 20% or so every time I go in. So, yeah, and my doctor found some sort of lesion on the inside of my cheek, and he did a punch biopsy where he took a big chunk out of my cheek after he numbed it up thoroughly, of course, and he had a resident there helping him practice. So I guess that was, yay, train the next generation. So a big chunk of my inner cheek is being sent off to the lab. Looks like it just might be a fungal infection where I kind of bit down and just took a chunk out and it got infected. So I'm sure you're so fascinated to hear that. I do want to let everyone know, if you haven't noticed, I tend to smack my lips and a lot. Part of that is because I take medications that cause the calcium in my teeth to basically, not reabsorb. So I have to take high fluoride toothpaste and dental washes and stuff to try and restore my teeth that are literally rotting away, the doctor said. Another fun thing. So, anyway, where that brings us in reality is I have an ulterior motive, as I'm sure you probably have guessed. Almost all eBay vloggers have an ulterior motive. If I can get like PewDiePie kind of numbers, I can get enough money to get my teeth all fixed so they're not rotting out of my face. And I'm having to sit here and blabber about it on, a public venue. So anyways, I hope you all are having a good weekend. I'm recording this on a Saturday. So anyways, this episode, Season 2, Episode 6, A Spider in the Web, starts off with Ivanova and Sheridan going over details of a meeting with the T-Car delegation. I also want to let you know, if you see my arm moving around in weird directions, my cat is now trying to chew my fingers off, so I'm having a fight with him here on the bed. Quite entertaining little bugger. He's only 4 months old, and he's just chewing my hand. It makes it look like a cheese cutter got a hold of me or something. I think you can probably see that, but it's just, he's, especially when I'm asleep, he just goes to town and chews to death on me. So anyways, a guy named Tara Sogi were introduced, and Talia have a meeting and talk with a representative from Mars named Amanda Carter. We zip on over to the Earth San Diego Wastelands. San Diego in this episode was nuked by a terrorist organization. Does anyone have any more information on that? Because that's all I have, is that San Diego was wiped out sometime in our, a generation. So exactly what happened, I guess nobody can go back there. It was a high enough terrorist bomb that the radiation just has cleared everybody out. But there's a government agency that operates out of there. For some unknown reason, they picked a nuclear wasteland to operate from. And they talk about 13 is answering. Control is ready to go online. It's a guy named Abel from Mars. And it starts off, this goes a little bit into Talia's character arc. However, the Bureau 13 is never used again. I guess there was a computer game or something like that used Bureau 13, and JMS didn't want to risk copyright infringements, so that was never used again. At least that's the story I have. If you have a different one, Put it down below in the comments. We are introduced to an actor, Michael Beck, as Abel Horn. His real name is John Michael Beck Taylor. Sounds like about 4 first names stuck together. He's 72 years old. He's been in Babylon 5 and Crusade. He played Mr. Jones in Crusade. And be interesting, he is still with us, thank goodness. Wondering if he'll ever show up on the new B5. If you have any info on that, put that down below. There's another actress, Adrienne Barbeau. She stars as Amanda Carter. She's a rep from the Mars Provisional Government. She is 76. She starred in over 25 musicals, including Grease, which is where I know her from. She has 3 sons, including twin boys she had at the age of 51. God bless her. And she even joked that she is the only person who is on the maternity ward and a member of AARP at the same time. Which is interesting because I actually am a few months before I hit 50, and I actually just joined AARP myself. So I'm getting old, man. Getting old. Anyway, we also are introduced to Tara Sogi. His real name is actor James Shigeta. He was born in 1929. Sadly, he passed away in 2014. He's got an actor. I mean, he's got a CV as long as your arm. I mean, this man has done just everything. He was a pop singer in Japan and Australia. Very famous. He was the Frank Sinatra of Japan, one person said. Even though he was a Sansei, which is 3rd generation U.S. citizen. And the interesting thing is, when he first went to Japan and started singing, he, number 1, couldn't sing, so they had to train him to do that. But number 2, he didn't speak Japanese, so he had to learn how to speak Japanese. He was a U.S. Marine in Korea. But look up his CV. It's really impressive what he's done over the decades. We get Sheridan is getting a call from a Senator Elise Vadreau, and her actress, or real name is Jessica Walters. If any of you have any info on her, I couldn't find very much. Please put that down below. Let's see here. Sheridan, they were going back and forth. Sheridan made a first contact with a race called the T-Car. It was a ship, was a cloud in space. And they went back and forth, finally made contact. He went in and tons of a room on the inside of this. He said it was just massive, the inside of the ship. And I think Star Trek has touched on this. Do you think it's going to be possible in the future to have ships that are flying around with more room on the inside than on the outside? I tend to be a straight thinker. Kind of like, you have 100 square feet of space, you have 100 square feet of ship. Whereas, you have 100 feet of ship, you get inside there and there's 300 feet of space. Is that possible? Do you think? Put your answer down below. I'm doubtful on that one. But, when the centuries go by, and this is what, 2259, and it's a different race other than us humans, maybe it will become possible someday. We go in, and Tara Sogi is killed by Abel Horn. Tara was trying to work on a peaceful solution to Mars. Mars has a lot of minerals and stuff other worlds need, so that those worlds would pay Mars for, their gold and silver or whatever it is they have, and Mars can become financially independent of the Earth Alliance. And so a war, in their minds, a war won't be necessary then. So Talia is witnessing her poor mentor being killed, and he says, free Mars, and starts hitting this guy with some electrical something or another, and ends up killing him. However, Talia ends up scanning him at the same time this is all going on, and she sees an Earth Alliance ship kill this guy. So how is that possible? he's dead, yet here he is murdering somebody else with no memory apparently of what's going on, except for Talia dragging that one memory out of him. Talia ends up, after kind of giving information to Sheridan as to what the hell just happened, why is this guy dead, she gets on a lift with Michael Garibaldi escorting her, and she says, very memmed quote, "You'll forgive me if I'm not interested in your usual badinage." To which Michael Garibaldi says, well, I'm sorry for being kind of a putz, but could you at least tell me what badinage means? And they start laughing. Ha ha ha. Actually, I went and researched. It's actually badinage, Badinage is the correct word. And it means a humorous or witty conversation. And heavily memmed, so I put that out there so you know what people are talking about. Abel Horn goes to upload files to Control, which confuses me because he receives orders to kill Talia Winters. Well, why would they do that? Because, as we find out later, Talia Winters is Control. So why would she give him orders to kill her? Unless she knows that he's going to get mowed down by Garibaldi and his thugs before Horn can get off Babylon5 and escape out into the wilderness. But anyway, Abel Horn again tries to kill Talia, but she provokes another thought of his death. In it, she says she can see an Earth Alliance cruiser shooting him down. Michael Garibaldi identifies him as Abel Horn because when Abel Horn and Talia were striking and counterpunching and all that good stuff, she got a little chunk of his hair, and Garibaldi got some DNA from that and was able to identify him. However, the files on Abel Horn said he was killed by an Earth Alliance destroyer over Phobos. Oh, okay. For those of you who don't remember, Phobos is the innermost and larger of the two natural satellites of Mars, because Mars is now getting its own satellites from the U.S., I think the old Soviet Union / Russia, and I believe China now has also sent some satellites to Mars to kind of map it, hopefully for some future exploration. So anyways, but Phobos is a natural satellite, aka moon, of Mars. Abel Horn ends up confronting Amanda Carter in her quarters. Horn ends up having a seizure of some kind and says the telepath can help him. So we zip on back to Talia's quarters, and she and Michael Garibaldi are talking, and she offers to let him in and give him a cup of tea, to which Michael Garibaldi replies, "Tea is my third favorite thing in the whole universe." So, from what we now know, Michael Garibaldi has at least three favorite things in the whole universe. It heavily implied that the first one is sex, cartoons from our generation, and tea. So, we now know his three most favorite things. So if any of you come up with more, let me know. But that's my understanding. Michael Garibaldi and Talia ends up shooting the breeze. They talk about their families. And we learn that Talia was taken by Psychor at the age of 5 and raised in Psychor from the age of 5. We zip on over, and Captain Sheridan, is talking with Garibaldi about Project Lazarus. We're going to find out later that Sheridan has a fetish for secret conspiracies and things of that nature. Like 9/11 was an inside job kind of a thing. But his is more based on actual government organizations that exist, or may exist, I should say. Bureau 13, aka Section 31, kind of a deal. All of a sudden we zip on over, and we are introduced to Zach Allen, the new semi-head of, or second on security, pages Michael Garibaldi because Talia wants to go meet with Amanda Carter. They get in, so they eventually go in. She goes in to meet with Amanda Carter, and all the security guys hang out outside. And I'm like, why wouldn't the security guys go run in and check the quarters first to make sure Abel Horn isn't lurking about there? So, of course, Talia walks in, and there's Abel Horn and Amanda Carter. And she provokes another moment of his death, and we see a psychop. Clearly can see a psychop, and she's saying hours now, all hours. So Project Lazarus was basically to take people who are near death, have their brains fixated on their moment of death while their bodies are repaired, and then a computer can go in and take over their more vital functions and get them to do whatever the computer is programmed to make them do. It sounds absolutely disgusting and grotesque, but you know, that's what happens sometimes with secret organizations. He makes another statement here: Mars will never be free until the sands run red with earthly blood. And I think we do hear that a couple more times. Kind of got me onto an episode, or human beings, we seem to have the most inventive ways of wanting to kill each other. You know, for heaven's sakes, these people from Mars are human beings too. We want to kill them, they want to kill us. And to me, it just gets... I was watching the movie... hold on here, let me pull it up. My notes. The Day After, which is 1983. And for those of you with more sensitive stomachs, you can watch a British quasi-version of it called Threads that was in 1984. And it's about a fictitious exchange between the former Soviet Union and the United States in the first movie that I mentioned, or the Soviet Union and Great Britain, because if you don't remember, Great Britain also has roughly 300 nuclear weapons. And the United States and now Russia, we still have 6,000 and 7,000 nuclear weapons, and now Russia is developing... It's called their Iskander missile, and it's basically designed the missile to open up and then it spits out rockets in every direction, trying to defeat our Patriot and THAAD anti-missile defense systems. Just more ways to kill you as a human being. In fact, the Germans back then, when there was an East and West Germany during the Cold War, used to say the shorter the range of the missile, the deader the German. And I don't understand why we as human beings, we have this ungodly amount of money that we have spent on submarines that can hide below in the ocean and bombers that can circle around in the air for 36 hours at a time and can avoid radar, and basically ways of humans killing humans. And evidently in 2259 we haven't gotten over that yet. Now, the two movies that I mentioned, please be aware that they are about nuclear war, and they are extremely, extremely graphic. So if you have a sensitive stomach, don't watch them. I will post links to free versions of them that you can see. And I also made a comment on one of them that everybody in a nuclear weapons state, the United States, Russia, France, the UK... I think North Korea, Pakistan, India, and maybe Israel. We might as well, invite them as observers. Everybody, from the president on down, should be forced to watch this movie every 10 years. Because I know Reagan said that it moved him, and Gorbachev even back in the height of the Cold War, ordered that this movie be played uninterrupted on Soviet TV, and moved to... But we still have this ridiculous number of nuclear weapons, and we're looking at ways of building more of them. And it's like, why? It doesn't make sense. But evidently in the future now we have 500 megaton nuclear weapons, which the largest one so far was called the Tsar Bomba, B-O-M-B-A, and that was a former Soviet Union, current day Russia weapon that had 50 megatons of delivery power, which is just infinitely more powerful than Hiroshima or Nagasaki. I don't know if I've mentioned directly, but I have taken care of, being a nurse in Portland on the West Coast, taken care of 2 Hiroshima, 1 Nagasaki, and 1 person who may have been Hiroshima or may have been. I got 2 different stories, and I worked on the night shift, so I wasn't able to talk to the family directly. People who had survived those nuclear holocausts. And let me tell you something. If you ever want to just say, oh my God, is look at what their skin and everything, and just talk to them about what happened that day. And I guarantee you, when you watch these Pakistanis and Indians talking about on the YouTube about, we're going to nuke you until you glow in the dark and shoot you, and then, and they're going back and forth like we used to back in the 80s with the Russians, and we're going to, it's like, oh my God, people, give it a rest. You've already got enough nuclear missiles. Why not stop that and start investing in things like infrastructure and schools and hospitals? But, I guess human beings, we're just the same. Anyway, back to the Babylon 5 universe. Abel Horn is killed by Michael Garibaldi and rigged to explode, so of course he leaves no evidence. In the debriefing, Amanda Carter reveals that she and Horn used to be lovers. Oh dear. So they all agree to keep her involvement in this quiet, as long as she can go in behind the scenes and make Mars a better place to be. Sadly, we don't hear anything more from her or her character. As they're being debriefed, Talia Winters lies about not knowing that the Psychops were involved, and she ends up going to research and finds out that the Psychop that she saw in Abel Horn's memory is supposed to be deceased, though we know she's still in Bureau 13 and the San Diego Wastelands giving orders. Let's see here. Find out Sheridan likes to research secret organizations, and there's a rogue agency inside the Earth government called Bureau 13. He said it's a secret tricks bureau. Sadly, we don't hear anything more about this. Does anybody know what eventually became of all of this? Did they morph into something else, or was the storyline just completely dropped? Because we all know that Talia Winters herself is Control. So, it ends up, Sheridan says to Garibaldi, there's a spider in the web, Michael Garibaldi, and I'm going to find it and I'm going to kill it. Hence the name of the episode. So anyways, lots to talk about down below. 36 subscribers. We're doing a really good job. Please try and share this with all your friends and say, hey, you gotta subscribe to this. Help this poor guy get his teeth fixed. Anyways, as always, like, comment, subscribe. Hope you all have a good rest of your weekend.